1 second, everybody. Hey, Wisdom. Might do a little chime at the start. How you going? I hope you are going well, mate. Whew. I'm going well. Cheers to you. Been a couple of interesting days for myself. A little bit of activity last night in the sky. Saw a bit of a comet type of object over Melbourne just swooping down. It was almost like a bit of a fireball. So, yeah. I read books. Yes, I do. Welcome aboard, mate. No worries. Yeah, love books. Books are full of knowledge. Yeah, so for everyone that has joined here, that's exactly right, Wisdom. Macedonia, Macedonic. Welcome, my friend. I am Craig. This is my little YouTube page, Craigsworldrocks. It's kind of like a bit of a, I call it that because I'm into crystals, rocks, and I was always into my music, rock and roll. So Craigsworldrocks kind of works for me, right? So for those who have not listened to me before, talk and chat, if you want to put how I see things and how I see life into a term, and I really try not to have a particular thing that I put myself under or a belief. It's, you know, metaphysics is something that I've always found I'm attracted to, which is proving things through logic, but also that there's more to life than, you know, the basic things that most people think about. You know, when you think about life, when you prove things through actions that, you know, what you put out comes back, etc., etc. You know, you can start to see life from a different lens. And I suppose I enjoy talking about those aspects, right? Like, so looking at life from different angles, from having honest, open conversations. It's not about blind faith for me in life. It's about, hey, we exist, we're living this life. Let's dive into that. Let's have a serious chat about it. Let's look at that with our eyes wide open and try not to be influenced by other things that have been thrown upon us as young people. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you look at life, right? So I always start, well, we were born into this world. We don't really remember in general, some people say they do, but we don't really remember what was happening before we were born. So, you know, we come into this world and then all of a sudden we have parents and we have, family and friends and people that are around us, and they're telling us what to think and what to do and how to act, and we grow up with that, and then we have influences by teachers and other things as we grow through adolescence and become an adult, and after we've experienced all the things in life, we move to finishing our life and going back to wherever it is we came from. In a nutshell, you logically should be the center of your own world, not in an egotistical way, in a self-worth way, right? Because you came into this world for reasons, right? You're living this life for some reason, right? No one has the answer. Everyone says they have a lot of people say they have the answer, but no one really has the answer. So what's the reason? Okay, well, if I'm honestly the one person that I should be looking towards to find the answers for myself, then it has to be personal to me. And I'm someone that, I got brought up like a lot of other people, there was a bit of religion involved, there was a bit of this, bit of that, but opinions about the answers were out there, and you had to go and seek the answers. And I've found over my journey of life to this point that the answers aren't out there, everybody. It's, for me, the answers are within ourselves for ourself, right? For our own personal answers. We store those answers within ourselves, within our hearts, right? That's what I believe. You can look outside yourself for a long time, but, you're going to be listening to a lot of other people's, I am from Melbourne, Australia. That's where I'm from, my friend. So everyone looks out there and thinks if I be the person that everyone's saying I need to be, then I'll make my life better, then I'll make everyone happy with me, and I'll be liked, and so on and so forth. When my thought process and the things I've experienced say, if I be my true authentic self, if I do the things if I do the things that I love, that I personally get a buzz out of, then I feel the best about my life I can feel, and I become an example of how to go after the things that you're passionate about, and it lifts your vibration. It makes you clearer minded and gives you a better connection between your heart and head. And that's when a lot of this information flows better within yourself. Now, before I go any further, I have a couple other comments that I always make. Please, with everything I talk about, take the things that you like, chuck out what you don't like. I'm very much about that, because we're all on our own individual life journeys. We're all having our own experiences. And that's the coolest thing about life, that no one is at the same point. So there might be a couple of things that I say that you go, geez, that makes sense. That answers a question that I've had about blah, blah, blah. Take it, use it. And no worries, mate, all good. And if you like the things I talk about, please remember to like and subscribe, as I come on live randomly, so you can see when I'm on to engage in the conversations, etc., etc. So, getting back to how can we affect our lives as such. What we put out is what comes back. I mean, that's proven through a lot of basic things, right? When you chat to someone, when you talk really positively to someone, when you thank someone, all good, mate. When you thank someone in a really positive way, you will find that they respond in kind. It makes them open up, because you're being so thankful for them. You're being really positive for what they've done for you, and in kind, they respond to you. If it's the same as if you act aggressive to someone, you'll have other people get their back up and they'll come aggressive back at you. So, like attracts like with vibration. And if that's part of the creation experience, if that's part of the reason of, understanding how you do create what goes on in your world, then if what you put out makes a big difference, then it's important to actually be in control of your conscious mind, speak as positively about your life and the experiences that you want for yourself, and start to think more consciously, in control of what's going on. Don't let emotions of situations make you act in a low vibrational way, because what you're putting out is what's coming back. So we obviously want to be talking really positively about our own lives. We don't, because everything around us is a reflection of who we are. If everything's going well inside you, if you feel really confident about you and you're really clear about you, then the reflection of your life will be excellent, right? So if things are happening which don't seem so positive for you, if things are out of whack in a certain aspect, or something keeps repeating, or you keep having a certain situation get on repeat, it's usually because there's some type of blockage within yourself that needs to be accepted and released. I'm very much about talking about how we action the things with ourselves to transform what's going on. It's not just about thinking something and it's going to change. We live in a physical body. We're living in a world where we're physical. So we have to do the actions. We have to basically make the changes with our human selves. We have to do the actions, right? So it's following through with what you want. So, you put out, this is the type of me that I'd like to become, but you can't just think it. If you want to become someone different, you have to start being that person. You have to connect with the you that is right now. You have to accept the you that exists right now. The you that you've got to know yourself. So get a good reflection upon who you are right now. I always say to everyone, sit quietly for a couple of minutes a day and have a think about yourself. Have a think about how you act. Have a think about what's going on. Do you want to improve or change anything about yourself or in the way that you act in certain situations? If you want to change a response that you have to others that come into your life at different times because you act a certain way in certain situations, you have to acknowledge how you act at the moment. And then once you acknowledge it, you actually let that energy, that blockage flow off, and then you can put in its place a much more positive way to respond in those situations. We have to take control of our lives, right? I'm a big believer that we create our own reality, that what we're putting out is coming back. So if that's true, we need to take ownership of our lives. We can't just cruise through life and expect that it's all going to turn out great for us. We've actually got to make those efforts and be that version of ourselves we want to be. Something about life that I've understood for quite a while, everyone talks about manifesting more abundance and doing all these positive things that create more good things for yourself. What if each individual has already manifested infinite choices of where you can go at any point in time? What if you don't have to manifest anything? What if you've already done it? What if all you need to do is step into the you that you prefer to be? That's the way you transform your life. You are a master manifester. We are perfect sparks of love and light. We are existence, creation, and consciousness at an individual, unique level. We have separated from the consciousness of existence, and we are one part of it. We are looking at life through our individual lens, right? So we need to embrace that. We need to know who we are, and also know who we want to become to transform to that. But we need to have the actions to go along with that. We need to have the acceptance of who we are, and we need to then go, okay, I want to be doing this because this is my great passion. I want to, fly planes. So you want to be a pilot. So let's say you want to do that and you haven't been doing anything along those lines, but you have a great passion. You get a great buzz when you do go flying on holidays and things like that. Why haven't you started to do something in that space? Why haven't you taken a little bit of your personal time and said, I want to start doing something that I'm passionate about? See, because when you start doing things that you love, you give yourself the opportunity to then have opportunities come into your life in alignment with the things that you love. Now, if you're suddenly doing, you don't have to be a pilot, but if you're suddenly doing a jewelry course and you're making jewelry on a Saturday morning and you work during the day, but you want to do this lapidary course and you're learning how to cut stones, etc., and you meet other people that are all doing that. What do you think happens when all the same people that are into something and they're passionate about it, what do you think happens? They attract together, yes, but they all start talking about something that they're passionate about. They're up here about it. They love it. A lot of other people might find that completely boring and it's down here to them. But the vibration for you, if you're passionate about it, is up here. And you attract other people at these places that are also passionate about that same thing. Now, what can happen when we start to do those things that we're passionate about is that suddenly opportunities can come into your world. You can create new opportunities by people that you meet saying things like, oh, I've got this shop that I sell jewelry and everything at, but I need someone else to work there full time. I can't do it myself. It's expanding. All of a sudden, because they've connected with you at the crystal cutting place, you're getting an offer to do something that you love to do all week long. That work can suddenly be a joy to go and do as opposed to a chore, because you chose to bring that passion of yours into your reality. You started to do it. You sent a message to your subconscious mind and said, we want more of this. Yeah? What you send to your subconscious mind is what it starts to create. If you put out the things that you love to do and you start doing them, you are sending a message that I want more of this in my life. If you get caught up in other people's, negative experiences and you become aggressive and defensive and angry and you're putting out that vibe all the time, your subconscious mind keeps creating it because it's what you're sending to it. Because you create your own reality. What you think and say is massively important to the outcomes in your life, right? It's how it is. Now, people often go, I can accept creating some things in my life, but I can't accept the bad things. Well, the reality is you can't create half of the stuff that goes on in your life. You can create all of it, or you can create none of it. A lot of people believe that, God makes everything happen, so you don't have a great choice. You just have to go along. Hey, Roadstrom, how you going, mate? Good to hear you. Good to see your typing on the screen. And that's okay if you're comfortable with believing someone else makes everything happen and you want to give your power away to that other thought process. But, to empower yourself to actually grab life by the bloody kahoonies, that's the word, right, Roadstrom? Kahoonies? Grab life by the kahoonies and make something happen for change for the better. You've got to actually have a look at the concept of, what I do, can that change things? Can that make a difference? I was talking about another example the other day that I used to do years ago. I probably haven't done it for a while, but it's something that occasionally I do. So I don't know if you've ever been needing to go shopping at a big bloody busy local shopping centre and you can never find a car park on a Saturday morning. It's always flat out busy. I used to do this a lot more than I do now, but it's something that it kind of just gives you that reflection that you can change things, right? So when, say, half an hour before I was going to the shops, I'd go, okay, I'd close my eyes, I'd put out a thought and an image. I'd imagine a car park being in the exact spot that I wanted it before I went to the shops. so I didn't have to park a long way away and to make my life easier. So I would put that there and I would hold that image for 15, 20 seconds. And I'd say, all right, thank you. I look forward to that car park being there when I arrive, and let it go. And then half an hour later, when you go off to the shops, pretty much every time I would have a spot right out the front. Appreciate you, mate. Because we need the dark with the light, mate. Light can't exist without dark. Oh, no. That's why I have white shirts and I have black shirts, right? Yin and yang. So, you know, and I can't tell you how many times I would roll up, and my missus would do the technique as well, and bang, suddenly a car would leave, cars everywhere, a car would leave as you'd roll in and bang, get a spot right at the front. Now, that would happen too often for it to be, for yourself to go, there's something to this, right? But it's about proving that what you put out comes back to you. It is about proving it to yourself, right? Today I was going to actually talk about something different. So Roadstrom, hang on to your bloody haunches here, mate. I'm going to take a bit of a diversion today. Another thing that I was taught when I was going through a lot of my learnings early on was the art of psychometry. And so I'm going to take a bit of a turn. I'm going to talk about that today, because psychometry is doing a psychic reading for someone else, right? Psychometry is about connecting with other people's vibrations and what vibration they're on and what they're creating, or what the most probable outcome in the near future for them is, by connecting with their vibration and allowing the images to come into your mind through something that they have, or through connecting with their vibration. Now, there's many ways to do this, right? Meditation is something that helps you to center and be very clear and open up your third eye and be more confident about seeing images coming into your mind's eye. But psychometry is about connecting with someone else's vibration. Now, the belief is, and I'm just saying the belief is because I believe this, but obviously for people that don't, is that you hold vibration, and from a universal point of view, your vibration can connect and check out other vibrations, right? We can hook into other levels of vibration, or, you know, a life path or a path that you're creating at that time. You can hook into that and see what's going on for someone else. So when I first started being this explained to me, one of the simplest things you use when you do psychometry, when you do a reading for someone, is you ask for an object, or you ask for a piece of jewelry, or something that is been worn by that individual for quite a while, a ring, a necklace, whatever it might be, because those items hold the individual's vibration, right? So you want to connect with that. Now, when you try this, because you can go and try it. See, I'm someone that says there's no rules to when you start trying these things. You try them to see if they're real, right? To see if they exist. If one person can do something, everyone can do it when it comes to human beings. So if we want to be a head in the sand and pretend that we can't do all this stuff, well, fine, you won't look into it. But your mind is like a muscle. You go to the gym when you want to make your muscle strong. When you want to make your mind strong, you meditate and you center and you focus and you balance and you breathe, right? And you allow yourself to quietly hear what's coming through. So with psychometry, you take a person's, say a ring or say a bracelet, right? And you might be holding that bracelet, and the person that you're doing the reading on is probably sitting opposite you, and you're sitting there. Now, what I used to do was just close my eyes, breathe, relax, start feeling the item. Sometimes you'd start spinning it in your hand, and the actions that you carried out with that particular item often helped the energy start to flow through you. So basically you're wanting their vibration and what's coming up for them to connect with your third eye chakra. But you're also connecting with your heart chakra because you're feeling what you're feeling. I remember one of the first early ones I did for a lady that was like a test one when I was doing meditation class and I was learning this, was the bracelet I had of hers felt like it was all knotted up. And that was what I said to her. I said, it feels like you're in knots. And you don't know how to undo the knots, because the bracelet was having trouble like straightening out. So that was what came through my heart, like feeling. And then after that, an image, once I started talking about what I was feeling about the knots, and she just nodded. She said, that's kind of how I'm feeling about life at the moment. So she was really stuck. And then an image came into my mind, I remember, of her on a 50-foot yacht, and there was people partying and drinking wine, and that was like they were celebrating something. And I was like, wow, I'm explaining all this to her. I'm saying, this is what I'm seeing. And then she turns around and she goes, oh, I don't know anyone with a yacht. She goes, that doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, well, I'm learning. That's what I saw. Said a few more things. And she said, okay, thank you very much. And off she went. A week later, I came back to my meditation class that I was in at the time. And the lady that was running the class, my clairvoyant mentor at the time, she said that this particular woman had rang her 2 days before, after the weekend had gone, and had told her that on the Saturday, she had been invited to the races. And she was there with her friend, and her friend knew one of the racehorse owners, and they were invited into the thing, and their horse that was racing won this big race. And so all the people associated with the horse race went out to party that night, and they were invited along, and it was on a big 50-foot yacht, and she had champagne, had a great night. It was an awesome experience. And she was telling my mentor that what I'd seen was something that happened to her going forward. So that strengthened my understanding that, hey, there's something to this, right? And it makes you then, because you know that you've seen something that, well, most people would say you're not meant to see the future, or you oh, thank you, Hulan. Welcome aboard, mate. Welcome to the family. So this is something that through practice, a person can learn to do. Like, it's probably harder to learn to do readings on family. Friends, not so much. That's probably because they're a little bit more separate to your close-knit family. But, you want to start with meditating. You want to start with breathing. You want to see nothing in your mind. If you haven't meditated before, well, you want to start meditating, because meditation takes you out of that pace of the world. It gives you time to de-stress and relax, okay? So you want to be nice and clear and not have any of the stresses of the day when you try and do a reading for someone, right? Because you don't want to put your energy into that reading. You don't want to distort that. So you want to have a nice clear channel, and you can allow the energy to flow. But it is part of, the heart is a massive important part of collecting clear information, right? Because if you're really down upon yourself, your own vibration being lower can distort that images that are coming in. So you want to really have a nice, clear, stress-free feeling. You obviously don't have to solve all your problems to be doing a reading for someone, but you want to be nice and clear. And then you want to, when you take that, whatever it is, off someone, whether it's a little toy or it's a mirror or an ornament or it's a brooch or whatever it might be, feel it, hold it, feel it, get a sense of it, because this is an extension of the person you're doing a reading for. And you want to connect with that, because that's like, maybe it's like a blind man feeling the body of the person, getting a sense of who you're talking to. But you're feeling the energy. And that energy that's on that item is their energy. And the energy of them knows what it's projecting and what it's creating and what's more likely to come down that path, right? So you've got to trust that each person is creating their own reality. Each person is projecting things along their path as they go. And when you do a reading for someone, you're hooking into that. I've got no plans for it, wisdom. I'm just talking about random things that, you know, tonight I wanted to talk about psychometry. So I'm not here to try and charge. Oh, look, I saw a thing the other day. I'm going to get off track now. I'm not going to mention what YouTube group it was, but they were charging $57 to join for a monthly fee to be a part of their group. And it's like, what? Like, it just didn't sit with me, right? Like, I think we should be able to help each other honestly and just help each other connect with who we really are. That's what I'm trying to do. Hey, Nettie, how you going? Welcome aboard. Nice to see you. Or not see you, but see your writing. Everyone can see me, obviously. That'd be trippy, though, wouldn't it, if you had like 1,000 people watching you and there was all their faces up on the screen? That would be quite trippy. So getting back to psychometry, you know, I want you guys to hopefully try a few of these techniques and see if they work for you. Put them into practice, right? Hey, Amelia, how you going? They are techniques, they are things that they're understandings and their abilities that human beings have. They've been suppressed. Being able to read vibrations of other people, a reading, is something that's been around since the dawn of time. And obviously, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, people were getting burned at the stake because they were called witches and, you know, you shouldn't be knowing the future. But we create what we put out. What we put out is created. And when you connect with a vibration that someone else is on, none of them work for me. Thank you, Mr. Negative. I'm Mr. Positive, Mr. Negative. When you connect with the vibration someone else is on, that's when you allow some of their projections to come into your mind, right? If you have trouble seeing anything in your mind's eye, I suggest that you spend a little bit of time just every day, a couple of minutes a day, breathing in your nose, exhaling out your mouth, breathing deep into your diaphragm and relaxing your mind's eye. So if you dream at night time, it's exactly the same place where you dream, but you're allowing that to open. Let your imagination flow. You don't have to see anything at first. You just have to let your mind go blank, right? For some of that, it's easier than others, all right? There's a little sarcasm again. When you let the stress of the day go, then you're absolutely, after you've flushed all that, let the stress go of the day, that's when you're clear and that's when information can come through. But you really, before you do a reading for someone, you really want to do a little 5-minute just clearing energy out of yourself. Just allowing, say, the white light of the universe to come through, flush out any grey, any dark energy that you might perceive in your mind and flush your whole body. I like to imagine my whole body just glowing white. Once it's glowing white, I know I'm clear of anything that might have picked up during the day, and then I'm ready to, you know, connect with other people a little bit better. You want to have a nice, clear energy flowing when you are allowing yourself to connect with someone else's energy, right? It's important that you do that. And look, a lot of psychics and so on have a lot of the old opinions where you got to protect yourself, you got to do this, you got to do that. Well, I'm not someone that believes that you need to protect yourself because you're always protected, right? The only thing you need to know is that you create your own reality. No one else can do anything to you unless you believe that they can. That's when you've given someone else your power. You know, the voodoo stuff and all that. When people believe that voodoo has power and they're fearful of it, that's when stuff can be allowed to happen. You'll create it because of your belief. So there is nothing that can actually get into your world unless you believe that it can, right? So anything negative that goes on in your life, it's because you've got a belief there that allows it in, right? Unless you prefer that negative existence. So, you know, you have to really analyze who you are and keep on working on, you know, how you perceive yourself. What do you believe in? Every day, take a little bit of time out of the day and think to yourself, how did I act today? You know, like what did I do in this situation? Oh, I responded really good when that happened. Oh, but when that happened later on, geez, I was a bit of a dick. So why did I respond badly in that situation? You don't judge yourself, but you analyze how you're reacting in different things to change the things that you don't like. Swifty. Thank you, Zane. We have the power to transform ourselves and ourselves alone, right? You decide who you want to be. What version of yourself do you want to be in this life? I choose to connect with my heart and be the best version that I can be. Be my authentic self. Connect with the things that make me feel the best I can feel and try and do them in my life. This is something that I'm doing right now with YouTube, going online. I love this, right? I love people that are into, talking about life, being brave, expressing how you feel about stuff. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I don't think anyone should say that their way is the 100% right way either. I'm a big believer in taking what you like and chucking out what you don't like. Create you to be the best version of you can be. Be the happiest with who you are and what you believe. If you're working from your heart, if you're being an authentic human, if you are trying to treat everyone in the best way you can, I can't see that you're doing anything wrong in your life, right? I mean, if you find negative stuff going on in your life, you have to look at where it's coming from. It's not going to be coming from your heart. It's going to be coming from your head. And maybe it's coming from your ego, because you've got an ego self as well. You've got to really analyze who you are. Do you want to be true to you? Do you want to go after the things that are just for you, that give you the greatest joy? Your way is the way, Roadstrom. Yes, 100%. Roadstrom is Roadstrom, and he loves it. And that is what I'm talking about. Every single person needs to care about themselves. They talk about, I'm disconnected, I don't feel anything about life, it's all shit, da 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 da. Well, you're not living for you. You're not living a self-worth, self-esteem, self-love life. You're not doing it because you want to be the best version of yourself and you want to be the most connected with who you are. You're doing it probably because there are other beliefs that have pulled your energy elsewhere. And the more you give your power away to something, the more disconnected you are with what life is truly about, yeah? I mean, life is about connecting with who you are, finding that connection, and then living that experience. We spend a lot of time in life running around not knowing what the hell's going on, right? Finding connection is the one thing we're all chasing. Connection is found within you, right? Remind yourself of what you love to do. And if you love to sit down on the weekends, look at the stars and have a couple of bourbons and Coke, that's okay. You're doing something that brings you joy. You're doing something that makes you feel good, right? There are groups where you can go and join and go stargazing together, or hunting for aliens, whatever you want to call it, There's things that you can find people that are into the same things as you, and other opportunities will come your way which will be more aligned with who you want to be. That's it, right? Connect with who you are. Who is that? That's for you to know and for everyone else to find out when you start living that aspect of yourself. But authentic you is the key, and lifting your vibration is the other aspect. It's that clarity between your heart and your head. You're no longer living for the ego, you're living a truer experience, right? A truer, authentic experience can't be taken away by anyone. People can say whatever they like. It has no effect on you because you know who you truly are. And when you live that way, you've totally empowered yourself. Anytime someone says something negative out there, and it might be aimed at you, firstly, it's because they believe that about themselves. Secondly, you are showing yourself that there is something in you that believes what they've said. Because when you feel that negative comment, when you feel bad about the negative comment, there's a part of you or there's a belief that believes what they've said. So again, it's about having a hard look at you, because otherwise you wouldn't have created the situation with them saying the negative thing at you, because you are creating that situation to say it at you, to give yourself the reflection so you can decide whether you want to keep feeling that way in that area about yourself. I hope that wasn't too much, right? So reflection's everything. Quietly thinking about you, a few minutes a day, find a quiet spot, breathe to yourself. I have 2 hammocks out the back of my place. They're in those, you can buy them from Bunnings in Australia, right? They have their own frame, and you put the hammocks in the frame and you can push them around, and you don't have to have trees. I love hammocks, right? And yes, Roadstrom, I don't live in Queensland, and Queensland love hammocks too. I know that. But hammocks are the most comfortable thing to lay out, relax, have a couple of drinks, feel like you're floating on a cloud, and just you can meditate in a hammock. And that's something that I do a lot, where you'll just relax, close your eyes, and let whatever images come into your mind, right? Go with the flow. Try not to fight life. You're creating it. What you're putting out there, if you're doing the best you can, then that's awesome. And I want to say right now that everyone is doing the best job they can do, including my friend Roadstrom. Mate, you got to pat yourself on the back regularly about where you are. I know you love your family, and that's awesome, mate. And all the things that you do that bring you joy, you do them. That's being your authentic self. But I can't be happier for you that you're doing that for you, right? I'm not someone that ever says there's a level we get to, right? I don't believe that we're there. We ever go, hey, we're here, we've made it, woohoo, there's nothing more to do. I think there's always more, and I think that's the beauty of life, that there is. But if you're enjoying what you're creating, how can anything be wrong with that? No one's telling anyone that you can't be happy with you. You definitely can. But you can keep opening yourself up. You can keep passing on that way of thinking to others around you by being that positive individual, right? Like doing the things that you love. And that's the message I raised my 2 boys, and that's what I said to them when they were going through high school. I said, don't worry about the grades, guys. Just do the subjects that you really feel good about, that you enjoy. My youngest did kindred spirits, mate. My youngest did like year 12, and they're adults now, but they did. He did like photography in year 12, and he loved it. Right now, that didn't give him very good scores, but what's the score if you're not going to use that thing you're studying anyway? And he got top marks in photography, and he's used it in different ways in his life. I mean, I just think you have to encourage your kids and your friends and your family to do things they love to do, because then they're not going to lose their energy. Then they're not going to lose that buzz about what they're doing, right? Because if you're doing things you hate, you can't keep that up forever, right? Eventually you lose grip, right? And then you hit rock bottom again, then you're back to where you started, and because everything's about energy. And if you're doing the things that you're passionate about, and your energy's coming from the passion and the joy and something that you're excited about, like the motorcycles, Roadstrom, then that drives you, mate. You don't have to have anyone make you get up to go and do that, because you're excited to do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's for people to find those things that just give them the buzz, right? And it's different for everyone. And so, you want them to, you want them to do what they're excited themselves to do, even if it doesn't align with what we're into. It doesn't matter, they have to find their own path. The reality is that's the only thing I can grasp, right, is that we all chose to come here to live this life, but we're all certain types of, we're on certain learning paths or so on and so forth. So, your kids as well, when they come in, they had things they wanted to experience, they wanted to learn, So you've got to help them find out what that was by encouraging the things that are just there in them, what they're really good at, what they're passionate about. And then they'll take it and run with it. And you just encourage them to say, go after the things that you like, right? And that's the best way to have them balanced and aligned and happy. And really, that's all we want for everyone that we care about, that they're happy, that they're enjoying their life, that they're being that example for others. I mean, there's too much disconnect in this world, right? Too many people are disconnected with life and don't really not have any meaning about what's going on, and they get lost, and then the suicide rates around the world are just crazy, and that's all because of disconnection. I believe it's all because they're just disconnected with themselves from life. There's no reason for them to continue on. They don't feel connected anymore. If you understand that the connection is always within you, you're always going to feel connected, and you're going to take this life through to its nth degree. You're going to get the most out of it you can, and you're going to be the best example for everyone around you that you can. I mean, we came here for a reason. We should stick it out and make the best of it right through the whole thing, and get out of it as much as we possibly can. I mean, no one's categorically going to know everything that we need to be doing or not doing, but at the end of the day, being Mr. Positive ain't a bad thing. I'm just speaking my truth. But yeah. But psychometry, that's something that I wanted to connect with tonight. It is, like my little smoky quartz crystal here. Love some smoky quartz, which is the quartz that obviously is the browny smoky color in it. It's quite a dark one. I've had this for a long time, but there's little rainbows in it as well. But smoky quartz is it helps to connect with your emotional stability. It helps you work on that to be really balanced in your emotional center. A lot of people, their emotions get away from them and they don't feel like they can control them at times. Reconnecting with who you are emotionally and having that vulnerability to be that version of yourself, that's something that smoky quartz works on, the vibration of it, so it helps to clear blockages in that space of your emotions. We were talking about psychometry and I was talking about jewelry. Crystals are the same. Crystals hold their own vibration, but when you have a stone that's kind of yours, that's around you a lot, it does also absorb your vibration quite strongly. So crystals are another item that I find when people do readings for other people, they work really well as well, because your vibration, the crystal's vibration, they're all the same, right? We're made up of light vibration. A crystal is one level of light vibration. We're made up of infinite levels of light vibration. So we connect with all of the colors of the rainbow. If you had 1,000 crystals on you at one time, you'd probably be very confused and whoa, but you really want to work with like one, maybe two stones at a time, because they open up areas of vibration with us and they clear the low vibration blockages away, and they allow beliefs and issues to come to the surface and allow you to accept them so that you can not put that blockage back there again. Crystals are a tool that aren't emotionally connected. They don't have a heart. They have a vibration. It's pure vibration. But basically, when you put them on, the vibration in you that connects with that stone lifts to the level, and the stone absorbs the blockage, and then whatever's behind the blockage comes into the mind, right? So so you might suddenly have a memory of something that happened when you were 10 years old, and you go, geez, I've forgotten all about that happening with that neighbour. You then, as an adult, have an opportunity to accept that it happened and let it go, because if you've had a memory come up where it's not a good memory, it means at the time when it happened, you bottled it, you held on to it, and that caused the blockage. So you want to accept everything about yourself, because you can't change where you are right now. You can't change anything that's already happened. The only way you can clear yourself through understanding is to accept yourself fully. So they're just rocks. That's cool, man. Science has proven they hold vibration. Let me just say that though, Radstrom. You can investigate crystals, natural stones, and they do hold light vibration. Science has proven that. They don't know whether it does anything. The metaphysical side of things, spiritual metaphysical people will say, yes, a stone does actually do something, because your vibrations are like this, right? You've got low, high, but when your vibration drops and you feel real negative about something that happened, you create a blockage, you store that away, and it has to be, it's shoved down, you know. When people say, shove that down and don't deal with it, be a man, right? And you shove that down. That blockage, if not moved on from or not cleared, can eventually cause a physical creation in a negative way to the body. I believe that the blockages that people hold in their energy is what eventually turns into a physical ailment further down the track when you haven't allowed that blockage to clear, right? I believe that, but I had some really good experiences with natural stones when I was being taught about them when I was in my 20s, and you know, I proved that they certainly did certain things for me while I was wearing them, and I noticed things. I reflected upon what I was doing, what changed with what I was doing while I was wearing particular stones. And then I was shown books where it talked about what the stone was about, and many times it was exactly what I'd been up to while wearing that stone. I was focused on these particular things, and it kind of helped blow my own opinion away about crystals and natural stones having an ability. But they're tools. They're tools that help you open up to who you are, right? So you don't need a crystal to transform your life or have a good attitude or whatever. I like natural stones, right? This one's called Lamar, and this is an Atlantean stone. They say it's a bluey, milky white stone. I've been wearing this for a while, but they reckon it's only found in one place in the world, and people say that maybe Atlantis was in that zone where they found this stone. But anyway, getting off track there. But the psychometry thing is the one thing that I was talking about tonight, and that's about taking the opportunity to test the waters. Can you do a reading for someone else? Can you pick up on what's going to happen in the future for someone else and what they're creating for themselves? I strongly believe that you can. Psychics, there's some very good psychics out there, people that have honed their skills to a point where they're out there doing it for a lot of people and they have a life doing it, right? But each individual is naturally clairvoyant and psychic. We pick up on vibes all the time. We notice something, we get a vibe about something. That's our intuition trying to speak to us, right? I mean, you know, you either turn into the skid or you miss it, right? Because it's the little things, it's picking up on the little things that are going on. You know, so many people don't pay attention, they don't slow down enough to actually notice what's going on behind the scenes, right? If we stay caught up in the day-to-day life, if we stay, you know, motoring along at full speed with everyone out there living their lives, you know, not knowing when to take a break and all that stuff, then we're going to miss a lot of stuff. And the secret for me is slowing yourself down, is breathing, listening to yourself breathe, focus, center, be you. Remind yourself of who you are. Pat yourself on the back every day for who you are and what you've done. Thank yourself for being the best version of yourself you can be. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're doing things for the right reason, then you're doing an awesome job. I think I might call it for today. You still on, Roadstrom? Because I don't see a lot of people up here. But I've had a good yak. I hope that if anyone else is on listening, I hope that you have a great evening or day. If you like how I talk, always remember to like and subscribe, because when I jump on live, you get the authentic Craig. And hey, you know, that's how you know if I'm genuine and I'm 100% down the line, want to pass on the things that I've become aware of, and people can use them as they see fit. Take the things you like, check out what you don't like, but that's how you know if when I'm online and so on and so forth. So everyone, I thank you all. Been a pleasure. We'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Take care.